you guys for tuning in. Please like, subscribe, share my videos. I appreciate everybody's support, okay? So this is going to be one of those videos that are going to inform you on what to do if you have an unscrupulous tax preparer, okay? Hopefully, a lot of you that are watching have not come across a tax preparer that has done any and everything to get you a refund and or done any and everything to pad their pockets, okay? But I have been taking a lot of you individuals' phone calls, so I know what y'all been going through, all right? So I am making this video because I wanted other individuals to know exactly what it is you need to look for when you are going to a tax preparer and or what to do in the event you get caught up in a situation and you don't know what to do. All right. So before I get into the forms and showing you guys what those forms are that you need to use to make a complaint on your tax preparer, let me give you some of the reasons why you could possibly make a complaint or run the other way if some of these things are happening. Now, if you guys pay attention to me, you guys watch me on Mondays, you know I always tell you guys that the IRS is going to be looking at our taxes more often. They are definitely going to be looking at Black and brown people taxes a whole lot more often than anybody else. So if you are a person who is Black or brown, then this video is for you because one, you're going to need to learn how to CYA. And if you don't know what CYA is, that means to cover your, y'all know, okay? So you need to learn first how to do that because a lot of these tax preparers, they are doing it for themselves, but they're not telling you. So in the event you get caught up in something, you are out there on your own. And I'm going to show you how to hopefully recognize some of those things before you even sign up, pay your money, and let this person do your taxes, okay? I got my list. All right, so let's go with number one. This is probably the biggest red flag, and I know a lot of you guys probably never even paid attention to it because if you don't know a lot about taxes, you would not know to look for this. But the number one red flag for me is, what software are they using? If you are an individual who are charging people to do their taxes, that means you are somewhat or some type of a business. But if you are using TurboTax to do my taxes and you're making me pay for it, red flag. Okay, and let me tell you why. Because tax preparers should have professional software. It should say their name when you get your printout of your tax paperwork. It should have their business name on the front, or at least their name and your name or something. Okay, TurboTax is not a professional software. It is a software made for individuals, sole proprietors, and individuals who have a single member LLC owners. That is who the TurboTax is for. Now, you don't have to use it if you don't know how. There's nothing wrong with going to a tax preparer. But if somebody's going to charge you to use software that you are supposed to be using, that's a red flag. Another reason that it is a red flag is because in the event that that TurboTax return gets audited, there's no proof that anybody else did your taxes other than your name is the only name on the paperwork. So say they screwed you up, they lied, they got you a whole lot of money back, but now you got to pay it back, you're getting audited, whatever. The IRS is going to say, we have no proof that anyone else did your taxes because you did it on individual software, not professional software, okay? That's one. Another way that they're going to know that it's not professional software is professional software requires that the tax preparer, and this is number two, the tax preparer have a P10, okay? A P10 is a preparer tax identification number. Now, y'all know the government loves to give out 7, 10, and 9-digit numbers, okay? So the P10 is another 9-digit number. No, it's not a 9-digit number. I apologize. It's a number that starts with the letter P, and I believe it has 5 or 6 numbers after it. And that number is an identifier for who did your taxes. There is no slot for a P10 on TurboTax taxes, but on professional software, you have to have it to even register a person to do taxes. So make sure they have a P10. If an individual that's doing your taxes does not have one, then just know that if anything were to happen, you are the only person that's going to be held responsible because IRS cannot prove that anyone else did anything for you. Okay. 3. How many times have y'all called me and I asked y'all, how the heck did y'all find this tax preparer? Especially after y'all tell me all the stuff that happened. And you know what y'all say? Oh, my friend went there. My cousin told me. My mama went there. Okay. Now, I'm not saying that popular tax preparation places are not the place to go. Because, of course, if somebody's popular, hopefully they're popular because they're doing the right thing. All right. But for some of us black and brown people, we know what I'm talking about when I say those hood tax preparer shops, okay? And if you are going to a hood tax preparer shop, please make sure that you follow 1 and 2, that they have professional software, that the person that you're going to has a P10. And just because everybody and their mama is going there does not mean that you should. And if they're recommending that you go, ask them why. Is it because they hook you up and you get a larger refund? They got good customer service. I mean, what is it? Why would everybody recommend y'all all go to this one place? Okay. Now, I'm just saying the IRS definitely looks for trends. Okay. And most of these popular tax preparer shops are going to run the same game on you that they run on everybody else. All right. And you are not even going to know if that tax preparer location or that tax office is being audited. Okay. If they're being investigated, you won't know. But what you will know is that you can get audited just because they're looking at the actual tax office paperwork. So you may come up just because you went there. You didn't even have to do anything wrong. Now, the sucky part about that is if they choose to audit you, they can also choose to go backwards and look at some other years, or they can go forward and wait until you do your next year or your next year after that and just check to see if there's been any changes. So most of you guys come to me and say, I got audited. What should I look for this year? And I tell them, you need to file correctly because it is a higher chance that they could look at your taxes again because you were recently looked at previously. They're just trying to make sure you ain't messing up again. Okay. So make sure you pay attention when somebody's telling you to go to these popular places. Just ask why. What's the reason? Okay. Ask a couple people, especially if your whole family going there, find out why. And I can almost assure you that the most of the time that people are referring you to a tax office is because they're hooking people up. And there is nothing wrong with that if that's what you choose. My issue is y'all are getting hooked up to the 15th power. And by the time y'all get audited, you owe so much money back to the IRS that it would have just been smart if you would have been short and owed them the $100 or $200 that y'all should have paid them in the first place versus letting somebody do all this work on your taxes to get you a larger refund. Okay, let's move on. Do they tell you what their fee is? Okay, how many phone calls do I get from you guys telling me, well, I looked when I pulled my transcripts 3 months later that they charged me $1,500, $1,600. Okay, now the IRS has not come out with a cap on how much an individual can charge for taxes. And the reason why is because there's CPAs, there's attorneys, there's enrolled agents, there's so many different people that do taxes. They have different fees because based off the type of taxes that you are doing. But I can almost assure you that there is no individual that I know that should be paying 4 figures in taxes. Okay? Especially if you have a lot of kids. Most of you get a lot of money back. And this goes on to my next point. If the tax preparer adjusts their fee based off of your return, run like hell, okay? The reason you ask the tax preparer their fee up front is so that they can't change it later. What happens in the event that you say, I think I want to get an advance? Will there be an additional fee for the advance from your tax preparer? Yes, there's one from the bank. And did they tell you that there's an extra fee from the bank? Some of y'all don't even know y'all paying an additional $200, $300 from the bank that's being deducted out of your tax refund on top of what your tax preparer is taking out. And then there's other fees that you probably aren't paying attention to because you're so happy to get your money, you're not even looking at your paperwork. Now, if you want to give away $200, $300, $400, $500, let me give you my Cash App. Okay? So you need to make sure you know the fee. You need to see if they're going to adjust that fee if you get an advance, but you also need to find out if they're going to adjust that fee in the event you get a larger return. Now, I am guilty of adjusting my fee. I adjust my fee down in the event that, say I do a student. That student may only bring home $500, $1,000. Well, I will adjust the fee and bring it down because I don't want to break them. I don't want to take half their tax return, the tax refund, any of those things, but that's my choice. That's not something that I have to do. That's just what I choose to do, okay? So I let them know, hey, if your refund is low, especially if I know I'm doing someone that's young that doesn't work a lot of hours, I will let them know that I won't charge them my regular price. But that's me. But if you are somebody that you were, you got 6, 7 kids and you getting a $12,000, $13,000 refund and somebody's charging you a percentage, I would be cautious of that because there is no such rule that you have to pay a percentage of what your refund is. And a lot of you have called me and told me that that is what you've been told. That is not written anywhere. You don't have to do that if you don't agree, and you can shop around, okay? And I'm not talking about shopping around. Can I get a quote? Can y'all give me a quote? No. Shop around meaning just ask, what are your tax preparation fees? That's it. Okay? Don't waste the tax person's time and don't waste your time. If the fee ain't what you want, don't even mess with it. Even if it's somebody that you've been going to, okay? Because if it's somebody you've been going to, why would they need to adjust the fee for you? Sounds a little fishy to me. All right, moving on. Let me see what I got. This says, now, here goes one that gets me all the time. Y'all go to these tax preparation places. Y'all don't even trust the person that's doing your taxes. That's what gets me. If you don't trust the person to do anything any other time of the year, why in the hell would you trust them to do your taxes? And if you did not know, your tax information makes you the most vulnerable because they have everything on you. A tax preparer, all these words, they could literally become you right after they do your taxes because they have everything. So if you don't trust the person that you're going to, or you don't trust the people in the office, why are you going there? Everybody has access to your information. How many times have I got calls, and y'all know y'all be calling me, letting me know that after you got your taxes done, all of a sudden you got inquiries on your credit. But it wasn't you. The only person that you could think of that would have all that information was the tax person. Okay? So this is why I'm making this video, because I am hearing all the stories from you guys. Okay? So if you don't trust anybody in that tax office, you need to leave. Okay? Do not give them your information because guess what? They got you. And the tax information doesn't leave from year to year. The only thing that doesn't transfer from year to year is your banking information. And look at that. The bank will keep their information safe. They don't let that route number or account number auto-populate, talking about they trying to protect you. But they let your social, your birthday, your kids' information, your address, all that stay in the system. Make it make sense, guys, okay? They're not your friends. I've been trying to tell y'all, all right? So if you don't trust nobody in that office, don't go. Okay, now, they don't give you your forms. Now, this is the one I think I hate more than any of them. If they do your taxes and they don't give you your tax papers after, especially if you go in the office. Now, if you go in the office, it's just standard routine to hit print once you're done because they need to sign. Okay, they don't have to, being that it's e-file, but some people like to sign or some people like to leave with a hard copy. But why are you going to somebody's office getting your taxes done, but you are not leaving with your paperwork? That is not something that has to be calculated or populated at any other time. As soon as you see what your refund is, your paperwork is done. Your tax preparer only has to hit print, staple it, and give it to you. But most time when you don't get your paperwork, it's simply because they don't want you to see what they did. Okay? Did they file you on the right filing status? Are you married, but they're filing you single or head of household because they're trying to help you out? They're actually hurting you. How many of you guys have gotten letters, because, not even letters, you got in contact by the school, your children are in college, you're trying to use financial aid, student loan, but they're saying, you married and your taxes are filed incorrectly, and now we need you to change it in order for your child to get any money to go to school. I am so happy that they are cracking down on that, because you guys who think you are smarter than the average person don't realize you are actually hurting yourself when you are married and do not file married. Okay, they didn't create married filing joint for no reason at all. There are all the benefits that you could use and need from married filing jointly versus, filing married filing single, or using the head of household game that y'all like to do. Also, if they are going to file you, wife, and the husband as both head of household and split the kids, red flag. Now, it could be red flag because of fraud, or it could be a red flag because they're uneducated and don't know that you're not supposed to do it. Now, only you can know if your tax preparer has smarts or none. And you will be able to tell that by looking at your tax paperwork and asking a couple questions. And if they can't answer it, you got a problem, okay? Nobody should be able to put anything into the system and then give you information about your taxes if they can't even understand the first 2 pages of the 1040, which is all of your taxes anyway, okay? So they should be able to go through the lines, and everywhere that there is numbers inputted, they should be able to explain that to you. And if they can't, y'all know the word, run, okay? So don't let these people, don't let their ignorance of being uneducated mess you up, but also don't let them playing that game mess you up, okay? You won't be able to know the difference until you get that letter from the IRS saying, you don't have the right filing status, and we went back and looked and saw that you should have been filing this way, but you didn't, and now you owe us all this money plus interest. When are you going to send us that check? Because that's exactly what they're going to ask you, all right? Okay, so I already talked about adjusting the prices on the refund. If they don't give you your forms, we talk about that. If they add or delete income, why do y'all let people talk y'all into this? Why do y'all let people keep telling you, oh, girl, you got 3 years to file that W-2 if you didn't put it in on your taxes? Stop believing the lie, okay? All right? This is accounting. And if you have W-2s that say 2022, guess what that means? That's not only the year that you earned the money, but that is also the year you should be filing your tax forms. So you don't wait until 2023 comes out, and it's, 2024, and you're filing for 2023, but you're using 2022 tax forms because your tax preparer told you to wait. That is not how it goes, and that is not why the IRS created the amendment, okay? So if you watch me on Mondays, I tell you guys all the time, get your tax refund first, then amend your taxes, and then you can wait. It doesn't matter, because the IRS is going to take 4 or 5 months to work it out, to either give you money or to tell you that you owe them money, whatever it is. But that, you always do it in the year that is on your paperwork, okay? When people tell you you have 3 years to do that, that is incorrect. The only thing that you have 3 years to do is to claim your refund. Well, that's it, to claim your refund. Okay, there is nothing else. Now that I think about it, I was going to say 2 things, but it's really only one. You got 3 years to claim your refund. After 3 years passes, you cannot claim any year that you would get a refund. So if like for example, 2019, well, it's too late. Well, we could go back to 2019. Let's say 2018, for example. Say you did your 2018 taxes, because I have a lot of you coming to me saying, hey, I need the last 5, 6 years of my taxes done. And I'll say, hey, I'll do them. But in the event that any year past 3 years from this year, you will not get a refund. You have basically given up your right to claim that money, and if there is a refund, the IRS gets to keep it. So that is the only thing you have 3 years for, okay? Now, if 3 years passes, do I still need to file? Why not? You should, especially if you have the documents. And guess what? Even if you don't have the documents, the IRS has your wage and earning documents, and you can still file your past taxes. There's nothing wrong with doing it to keep all your I's dotted and your T's crossed, but you will not get any money after 3 years, okay? So please don't listen to them when they try to tell you to wait to add the income, or don't add it right now, girl, because if we add it, it's going to bring your taxes down.
Sorry, y'all. Had a little bit of video issue, but just to rehash my point, don't let anybody convince you to add income to give you more of a refund, or to deduct or not add income to give you a larger refund, okay? One thing that you guys may not be aware of is that the IRS is actually sending letters to people saying, hey, you know you missed this 1099-R? You know you missed that 1099-C? Oh, you missed that W-2? We're going to need you to add it, correct it, and fix your taxes, okay? So the IRS being the boogeyman that never came out before and y'all only heard from him or it every once in a while, that is not the IRS that we are dealing with now. I can tell you for almost certain that they are looking at those COVID years like crazy, okay? So your best bet is to know your rights, know what you can do in the event you get caught up in something and you didn't have anything to do with it. Now, I know the majority of you guys probably told your tax preparer to do it, to hook you up, to do the damn thing because you needed the money. Don't pass no judgment. Just know you need to make sure they have that P10 on there. Make sure they were doing it on professional software. Because they're going to need to get in the same boat with you, because if not, somebody's going to be snitching on somebody, okay? And not that I want people to do it. I'm just saying it happens, all right? So I am going to turn my phone around and I'm going to show you 3 different forms that you can use, okay? They have different uses, but these are the actual forms that you would need to use in the event that you want to anonymously report a tax preparer, a tax office to the IRS for bunches of reasons, okay? I tried to give you some so that you could pay, close attention, because people do a lot of things, okay? Remember, the IRS is nothing, it's not the IRS. The software is, it gives you numbers, especially if you pay taxes, but I can put in $1 million in income and put that someone paid $100,000 in taxes and it will give me a refund. And I just made it up, okay? So it is basically just some software. It's like a calculator. It's gonna give you results from whatever you put in. But just because I put something in doesn't make it right, okay? So let me turn the camera around and let me show you guys the forms you will need to report your tax preparer. As with anything, guys, the IRS does not make anything easy, okay? Everything seems to be a bit difficult, all right? So I'm going to try to make this really easy so that you guys can understand, okay? So the IRS has 3 forms. 1415-7, which is the return preparer complaint. They have 1415-7A, which is tax return preparer fraud or misconduct affidavit. And then they have information referral 3949. Now I'm going to do the information referral first. The information referral is for individuals or businesses that want to anonymously make a complaint to the IRS about a business. Now, this is the form you would use if you say, I just don't like them, I ain't never going, but I don't like how they did so-and-so, and I know they're doing stuff that is bad in here. They're probably selling plates out the back, selling a little weed on the side, whatever. Okay, this is the form that you would just give information. The reason you would use these forms and not the 1415-7A or 1415-7 is because these people did not prepare your taxes. So this would be the form you would use if you are detached from the office and you just want to make a complaint. Okay, so I'm gonna look here. I'm gonna show y'all what's important about this form. This form says, do not use this form if your identity was stolen. There is a separate form for that. I talked about this form already, 14039. It says, do not use this form if you suspect misconduct by your tax preparer. Remember, this form is for people who are detached from that tax preparer. It also says do not use this form if you paid a preparer and they did something to your taxes without your authorization. Again, that's because they're your preparer. The next one is talking about if you got a letter saying someone is your dependent, same thing. Anything that makes this person your tax preparer, do not use the form if you're complaining on someone that did your taxes, okay? You would use this form if it's detached, meaning it's someone that you don't normally have to use normally to get your taxes done, okay? So that is what you would use this form for. Now, let me tell you something about the IRS. Now, how about this? You can use Form 211. I didn't even print that form out. But that is an application for award for original information. So you can snitch to the IRS, y'all, and get paid. So let's bring up that form really quick. I wasn't expecting to bring that up, but let's look at it real quick. All right. Okay. So y'all know, if y'all haven't read in these articles, snitches make good money. I think the minimum snitches make in certain states was like $80,000 a year. And this is how they're able to do it, okay? So basically, if you know some information about somebody doing something, you are supposed to snitch. And it's going to the what office? Whistleblower's office. And I guess if it results in some type of criminal penalty or fine, then you will get paid, and probably a percentage of whatever it is that they uncover, much like they're doing with the SBA and PPP. So if you are to report fraud on someone and it results in a someone being charged, the amount of money that they have been charged with stealing, you get a percentage of that, okay? Now don't rush out and everybody becomes snitches by tomorrow, but I'm just letting you know that it is possible, all right? So 3949, that is if you want to report someone who is not your tax preparer, you just want to report that you know they're doing something in there, you're just giving information. But I'm going to tell you, why do this form when you could do Form 211 and actually get paid? Okay, so this is just for someone that's not looking for any money. And y'all notice they put the Form 211 way in the bottom in fine print because they was hoping you wasn't going to read it because they don't want to pay you. All right, moving on. We're going to look at 1457A and 1415.7, right? So this is a return preparer complaint. This is where you would complain about the person that did your taxes. They're going to ask you who they are. Most of these people that you guys go to get your taxes done by won't be this. Won't be this. It won't be an attorney. It won't be an enrolled agent. It won't be a public accountant. It will not be a payroll services provider. So they're more than likely going to be other unknown. Okay. You will put the information for the business. You see, they're asking you for that P10. If you don't have that P10, how can you make a complaint on somebody? It's very hard to do that. Okay. Now, as far as EIN, that should also show up. Well, the EIN won't show up. The EIFN, the EIFN right here, the Preparer Electronic Identification Number. The EIFN will also be on your paperwork, okay? It should say who that ERO is, whose number that's under, that they've transmitted these taxes under, and you will put that information, okay? And basically, they're just asking you, what is it that they did? Okay, did they do something wrong with the e-file? Was it a P10 issue? Did they put in false documents? Did they lie? And then look at that. It even gives the return preparer an opportunity to self-report, to tell on your own self. Okay. And as you can see, they ask you, are you, they're asking, are you the tax preparer? Because they want to know are you the taxpayer? Because they want to know that. And if they do, they want to know if you are the actual person that's making this complaint because it's something has happened to you. So please be mindful that you may have to put your own information. Now, one thing I have not ever heard was that the IRS has contacted anybody back that has sent in one of these. Okay. Once these things are sent off, we don't really know what happens. We are going to assume that they do an investigation, but maybe they just put these forms to the side until something big pops off, okay? Now, 1415.7a, this tax return preparer fraud or misconduct, all right? Now, you're probably asking, why do I have to do both? Because they kind of seem the same. And they do, in my opinion, but I do notice, and you guys will notice too, that there is different questions. Now, what I like about this form is the 1457A is that it allows you to tell your story. What happened? They stole my money. They gave me an education credit and I never even been to college. They put other people on my taxes that were dependents and I don't even know them. This is where you get to say your side, and it starts asking you more things about your taxes so that they can narrow down exactly what happened, what you paid. This just gives them more information on for them to know what to look for, because you may be complaining that they added a dependent, but then the IRS may see that they charge you $3,000, and that could be another thing that they try to do something about. Okay, so whenever you are sending off 1415.7, the first form, the return prepare complaint, you must also send in 1415.7A. They go together. All right. Why they just didn't make this one long form and put it all together, I don't know. But you must remember you have to send in both 1415.7s. Okay. And again, if this person is not your tax preparer and you just want to make a complaint because you know they're doing a shabby, horrible job, you would just do 3949A as an information referral. But if you are seeking funds, remember we're looking for form 211 versus this form 3949A. Okay, so these are going to be the main forms that you need for your tax complaints. And I'm going to show you one more form, and this is for individuals who have become victims of identity theft. Okay. Now, yes, the IRS does have an identity theft affidavit form 14039. And this is basically just another form where you're going to say, hey, my identification was stolen. Now, it does not always have to be stolen by your tax preparer. It can be stolen by someone else who claimed you as a dependent and they didn't want to drop you and they keep claiming you. You know what I'm saying? So if you see that you're going through something like this, then you would need to submit one of these forms, because you're going to need the IRS to do an investigation, because that's the only way you're going to get your money back that you should have received. Now, normally when I do this, when I send in this form, and I'm just going to tell y'all, I also turn in the taxes. So, for example, say somebody used your child. The baby daddy used the child and it's not his year. He's not supposed to claim him, or he's been using and you just didn't know what to do. He got the IP pin. You can't get in. You would use this identity theft affidavit form. You would fill it all out. You would have someone do your taxes and claim the child like normal. Okay. They cannot e-file it. They will need to print it out and put it with this form as well as your proof. So if this is your child, and it's also the baby daddy's child, but if you can prove your relation, if you can prove that the child lives with you, so that you can prove that they're actually your dependent, or even if you have a divorce decree or a child support agreement that says you guys go every other year, the IRS, of course, has the tax filing paperwork. You would send all that proof in. So this form, your actual taxes, the way they should be done, and then the proof to prove the dependency. You send all that in, and I would even tell you, if you want to be fancy, there's nothing wrong with putting in proof of your identification for you and for whoever identity was stolen. So whether that be a driver's license, social security card, and in the event that it's a child, it'll be a birth certificate and a social security card. That is what I would do, and send all this off. Okay. Now, y'all will see back here, I don't know if you guys can see that well, they do give you the opportunity to have an IRS to do a power of attorney, to have someone that the IRS can speak to on your behalf. If you choose to do the form 2848, because that is the form 2848, if you want somebody to be your power of attorney, you need to make sure that form is filled out correctly, because the IRS will reject it in a second. You also need to realize that if it is processed and approved, you have to remove this person so that they can stop being the point of contact that the IRS uses. So say, for example, you guys asked me to help you out with this situation, and I do this 2848 for you. And then after we're done, we need to remove me from this so that I am no longer in the way or in your channel line anymore going forward with the IRS. You can bring people on for just a season and let them go. Now, if you're somebody that you don't feel that you're that great with taxes and you want to keep somebody on, you can, but you may have to turn a 2848 in each time, because on the 2848, the IRS is going to ask you how long or which years do you want this person to have access for us to talk to. Is it the past 3 years, past 5 years? You can't go forward because the tax years won't show yet. So you can specify if it's more than just this situation. You may say, well, Shamika, they've been doing my tax for the last 5 years. Can you be the power of attorney for over the last 5 years, or the last 5 tax filing seasons, and work with the IRS on my behalf? You absolutely can ask somebody to do that, okay? So I hope I didn't inundate you guys with too much information. But again, you got the 2848. That is the power of attorney form. You have the IRS form 211. That is the form to snitch and get paid. You have the IRS form 14039, the identity theft affidavit. You have the IRS form 3949A. That is the information referral, where you can report on someone that is not your tax preparer and you're doing it just for GP. But if you're going to snitch on somebody, at least do the 211 so you can get paid. Okay? You also have 14157A and 14157. These are the return preparer complaint and the tax return preparer fraud or misconduct affidavit. And remember, the 14157 forms go together. And if you do the identity theft affidavit form, the 14039, you need to make sure you put in supporting documentation. Now, I hope I didn't give y'all too much information and drive y'all crazy, but these kind of things are very important because, well, a lot of y'all called me and y'all got screwed. A lot of y'all got played. A lot of y'all got taken advantage of. And these people went on trips. They got their body done. They don't want to put rims on their car. They done did everything, eating shrimp and steak, and you over here suffering, okay? Or you didn't get your money. You didn't get your refund. Those type of people, in my opinion, I got 3 years to get that behind, okay? It's hard to go after them later, 5-10 years later. Not saying that you can't put in a complaint, but the chances of you getting your money, remember what I told you guys, you got 3 years to claim that refund. So if you are not up on your stuff, and you find out at the 3rd year that this person stole from you, baby, you only got 12 months to try to get the IRS to give you your money back, because after that, you lose the right to get it, okay? So I hope I taught y'all something new. Hope you learned something. I hope I didn't go too fast, and I hope you were able to see those forms. But please let me know, have y'all ever had to make a complaint? Would you make a complaint now that you know? And are y'all going to start using that 211 form so y'all can get a little bit of that change? Just let me know. Y'all can send me an email in private if you want to. We don't want people to tell if they snitches for real, okay? But anyway, y'all have a good one. Please like, subscribe, share my videos, and come back and watch the rest of them, okay? I'm not dropping these gems for nobody. I'm dropping them for you, all right? Take care. Bye.